Explosions lit up the black sky. The Lyrox fleet was falling apart. Screams echoed through the communication channels as ship after ship vanished in fire. Commander Velk gripped the edge of his control panel, his sharp eyes filled with fear. His species had ruled this part of the galaxy for 2,000 years, but now something darker had come. Something no one could understand and no one could stop. The enemy ships were fast, silent, and brutal. They didn't communicate. They didn't respond to warnings or threats. They came in waves, cold, metallic, and without any pattern. Even the strongest Lyrox battleships had no chance. Their shields melted like paper. Their weapons didn't lock on. The enemy wasn't using normal tech. This was something else. Velk shouted orders, his voice trying to stay calm. Form a perimeter. Protect the civilians. Launch the escape pods. But deep inside, he knew it was useless. They had already lost half the fleet. The rest would not survive. Another hour. A dark shape passed across the window, one of the enemy ships. It looked like a shadow, long and thin, moving like it was swimming through space. Then it fired. The blast didn't look like energy. It looked like space itself tearing apart. One of their largest carriers broke into pieces without a sound. Thousands gone in a second. Velk turned to his officer. Send the signal. To everyone, even Earth. The officer froze. Earth? But we don't speak to them. They're primitive. They don't even join galactic councils. Do it, Velk said. If they're alive, they might respond. We have no choice. The signal went out, across galaxies, across systems. A short, desperate message. This is the Lyrox fleet. We are under attack by an unknown enemy. Requesting immediate assistance. Coordinates attached. For a few minutes there was nothing. Just more destruction. Another Lyrox ship exploded. Another squad disappeared into empty space. Velk's eyes stayed locked on the main screen, waiting for any kind of answer. Then, something strange happened. A ship appeared, one that wasn't Lyrox, one that wasn't from the enemy fleet either. It came from deep space just outside the battlefield. Silent, black. No lights, no insignia, no welcome message. It was shaped like a spearhead, long and sharp. Its surface seemed to absorb all light. Not even scanners could read it properly. Velk's heart pounded. What is that? The sensors couldn't tell them. The ship had no ID, no signal, nothing. Then it moved. It didn't attack. It didn't defend. It simply drifted into the middle of the battlefield slowly, like it was looking around. The enemy ships noticed. A few broke formation and turned toward the new arrival. One of the enemy vessels fired a pulse. Everyone on the Lyrox bridge braced for impact. But the black ship didn't move. The pulse hit and vanished. No explosion, no shield effect. It was like the energy just disappeared. Then the black ship responded. A sound came through the communication line, not words, just a low, deep hum. It felt wrong, heavy. It made the crew feel like something was pressing down on their chests. And then it fired. There was no visible weapon. No bright beam, no explosion. But the enemy ship that had attacked it simply vanished. 1 second it was there, the next it wasn't. Not destroyed, just erased. Velk stepped back. What is that ship? Another enemy ship attacked the black vessel. It vanished too. And another. And another. The black ship didn't fire like a warship. It didn't aim. It just existed. And with every second, the enemy fleet got smaller. Velk's second officer turned to him. That must be from Earth. Velk's throat was dry. That's not a rescue ship. More black ships appeared. 3, then 5. All identical. All silent. All deadly. The enemy for the first time stopped advancing. The battlefield went still. Velk stared at the screen. The enemy ships were pulling back, slowly, as if afraid. As if they recognized something. Or someone. Another message came through. This time, it was a voice, a human voice. Calm, cold, female. This is humanity's last protocol. We received your signal. Assistance is in progress, do not interfere. Then silence. Velk didn't know what to say. He had studied human history once. Earth had been quiet for centuries. They never joined any wars. They avoided contact. The galaxy called them weak, backward, unimportant. But what he was seeing now was something else, something ancient, something terrifying. The enemy began retreating faster, but the human ships didn't let them go. They moved forward in perfect silence. One by one, the enemy vessels vanished. Velk looked at his crew. No one spoke. No one moved. Humanity had answered the call, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The battlefield was silent now. No Lyrox ship dared to speak. No one moved. Every eye was locked on the black ships that floated through space like silent ghosts. The enemy had stopped fighting. For the first time in this terrible war, they were running. Commander Velk couldn't understand it. The enemy that crushed a dozen systems in weeks, the ones who tore through the strongest shields like they were made of air, were now afraid. But it wasn't fear of the Lyrox. It was the humans. The black human ships moved with calm, quiet power. They didn't chase in a hurry. They followed slowly, like hunters who knew the prey couldn't escape. One by one, enemy ships blinked out of existence as if touched by an invisible hand. No explosion, no remains. Velk turned to his officers. "Do we have a connection to Earth?" "No, sir," his communication officer replied. That voice, it didn't come from any known human channel. The frequency was different, old. "Try again," Velk said. "We need answers." They sent out another message, a peaceful one, requesting a direct talk. For a long time, there was no reply. Only the silent black ships and the fading presence of the enemy. Finally, a voice returned. Not live. A recording. "This is not a rescue mission. This is a final protocol operation. All observers are to remain silent. Do not assist. Do not interfere. Humanity will handle the situation." That was all. Velk sat down slowly. He had seen many wars. He had seen great powers rise and fall. But this was not a war. This was something else. He stared at the dark human ships. What kind of help was this? In another part of the fleet, on a smaller Lyrox research ship, young science officer Nilak was watching in silence. His claws tapped nervously against the console. He wasn't a warrior. He studied ancient technology, lost languages, and pre-galactic history. He didn't belong here. But when the unknown enemy started using strange weapons, the High Command had sent him along to observe. Now he couldn't believe what he was seeing. "Computer," he said quietly, "analyze the black ships." Unable to analyze, the ship's AI replied. "No data available, hull structure unknown. Energy readings inconsistent." "Inconsistent?" Nalak repeated. "How?" "They do not match any known science. The closest match is gravitational memory." Nalak froze. "What?" "Gravitational memory," the AI said again. "A theoretical concept. It means space remembers trauma. A massive event like a superweapon or a dying star can leave behind a kind of scar in space-time. These ships seem to carry that scar." "Are you saying?" Nalak whispered. "These ships are made from pain." The AI didn't respond. It didn't need to. Nalak leaned back in shock. If that was true, then these weren't ships in the normal sense. They were memories floating in metal. They were reminders of something terrible, something space itself hadn't forgotten. He tapped into the ancient records, trying to find any mention of humans building such things. Nothing. The database was empty, or worse, cleaned. Meanwhile, the enemy fleet had retreated far beyond the asteroid field. The Lyrox scouts followed at a distance, careful not to cross paths with the human ships. All reports showed the same thing. Wherever the humans went, the enemy vanished. But one of the human ships stopped. It didn't follow the others. It turned toward a dead Lyrox colony moon and dropped into low orbit. No one knew why. Commander Velk sent a small recon team to watch from afar. He didn't want to anger the humans, but curiosity burned inside him. The team landed on the moon's surface, staying behind a ridge. The black ship sat quietly in the sky, casting a long shadow over the ground. Then something unexpected happened. A door opened. A single human figure stepped out wearing a thin black suit. No helmet, no weapon, just a calm walk down onto the dusty rock. Velk's team zoomed in with cameras. The human was older, maybe mid-50s, male. His face was calm, almost sad. He looked around the dead colony, then sat on a broken stone bench. For hours he just sat there doing nothing, then he spoke. There was no broadcast, no signal, but somehow every Lyrox ship heard him, directly in their minds. "I came here once," the man said. "Before the war, no one remembers. This place was alive then, full of light, full of music." Velk's crew stared at each other. Was this a dream? The man's voice continued. "The enemy you face now, it didn't come from outside. It came from within us, from within me. We created it. We lost control. And so, we left." He looked up at the stars. But we didn't forget. Suddenly he stood and looked straight toward the Lyrox camera drone, though there was no way he could see it. "I know you're watching. Tell your leaders this. Humanity is not back. We never left. We were just waiting for the right time to return." Then he vanished, not walked away, not teleported, just disappeared. The recon team returned in silence. They had no explanation. Commander Velk watched the footage again and again. He didn't understand. None of them did. But one thing was clear. This wasn't the first time humanity fought this enemy, and it wasn't the first time they won. Velk called for a council meeting. The other Lyrox commanders joined him over encrypted channels. Faces looked tired, confused. "We asked humans for help," Velk said. "They sent something none of us understand, and now the enemy is running." One of the admirals leaned forward. "Are they with us, or are they something else entirely?" Velk shook his head. "I don't know, but I fear we've called a power that even the enemy fears." Another voice chimed in, a younger commander. "Do we continue watching?" Velk looked out the window of his ship. The black vessels floated like shadows near the stars. "We keep watching," he said, "but from a distance. No one interferes. Not unless they want to disappear like the enemy ships." In the darkness of space, one of the black, human ships turned just slightly toward the Lyrox fleet. It didn't move, but it knew they were there. For the first time in Lyrox history, the High Council was silent during a war. The chamber lights were dim. Holograms flickered in the air above the table. Footage of the black human ships, the vanished enemy fleet, and the old man who had spoken, without sound, directly into their minds. High Speaker Dural finally broke the silence. "We called for help. We did not call gods." No one laughed. "Not today. They did not ask for anything," said Admiral Sirex, voice low. "No fuel, no orders, no alliance. They came, destroyed the threat, and now they linger." "They are not communicating," added Commander Velk. "They do not want us close. They are cleaning the galaxy in silence." "Cleaning or resetting?" whispered Counselor Venna. "We do not know what their goal is." Across the stars, fear was spreading fast. Not from the enemy, but from the humans. The galaxy remembered human history as broken, scattered, and weak. A lost species with damaged worlds and primitive ideas. But what had arrived now was not that version of humanity. These were not soldiers. These were something else. Meanwhile, on the Lyrox capital ship Hectarnus, young Officer Nalak continued his quiet research. He had isolated a small energy signature from the black ships. One barely detectable, almost like a whisper in space-time. It pulsed at odd intervals, following no known language or pattern. But Nelek had a theory. It was a countdown. He brought the data to Commander Velk. "There's something coming," Nelek explained. "The humans, they're not just attacking the enemy. They're preparing something bigger." Velk stared at the projection. "What kind of countdown?" "I don't know, but the signal repeats, and every time it resets, the energy output grows. Something is building." "Have you informed the Council?" "No. Not yet. I thought it would be best to speak to you first." Velk nodded. "You did right." Just then, a new message arrived from deep space, encrypted, from an unregistered source. Velk opened it carefully. A short video played, black static, then an image. A human face. Not the old man. A woman this time. Her eyes were sharp, her hair tied back, her skin pale with a deep scar on one cheek. "My name is Captain Mira Solon," she said. "If you're receiving this, it means you're still watching us. Good. You need to understand what's happening." Velk leaned forward, gripping the edge of the console. "The enemy you've been fighting, they are not aliens. Not really. They were made by a part of us. A weapon, born long ago, during a war the galaxy forgot. We thought we buried it. But they found it. Used it." She paused. "But the problem isn't them. The problem is what they woke up." The screen flickered again. Symbols flashed behind her. Ancient runes, impossible to decode. "We are not your saviors," Mira continued. "We are not your allies. We are the response. The failsafe." The video ended. Velk stood, there stunned. The response? What did that mean? He ordered the crew to scan the area around the black ships again. This time focus on deeper layers, subspace, time echoes, gravitational memory. The same strange results came back. Unreadable, twisted, like the laws of nature were bent around them. That same whisper pulse returned, louder now. Nelak's eyes widened. "Sir, the countdown just jumped. The next phase is close." Suddenly, all communication systems aboard the Hectarnus cut off. Every Lyrox ship reported the same failure. Then, as if on cue, the stars dimmed. Not vanished. Dimmed. A ripple spread across the galaxy. Not light, not sound. A shift in something deeper. The very fabric of space trembled. Everyone on every ship felt it. The Lyrox weren't the only ones. Other species across the galaxy began sending out panic messages. Civilizations from every corner of the stars were experiencing the same thing. Reality stuttering. Time delays. Sensor blindness. Some ships swore they saw echoes of themselves, flickering like ghosts. Others reported voices in empty rooms, memories from the future, and then, as quickly as it began, it stopped. Silence. Sensors came back online. Everything was still, except for one thing. One of the black human ships was missing. Nelek zoomed in on the location. The ship hadn't moved, it hadn't jumped. It had folded, bent in on itself like paper in a storm. There was nothing left, not even debris. "What just happened?" Velk asked. "I don't know," Nelak whispered. "But I think that was part of the process. Whatever countdown they started, it just reached a new level." Hours later, another message came. This time from Mira again. "Phase 2, complete. The field is active. Stand down." Velk recorded her face carefully. "What field?" Nelak found it first. A massive area of space, stretching across 9 sectors, had become unreachable. Ships that tried to enter simply vanished. No signal, no return. It was as if a curtain had dropped, sealing off a part of the galaxy. Inside that curtain was where the enemy used to be, and where the humans had now gone. Counselor Venna was furious. "They're erasing parts of space." "No," Velk corrected. "They're cleansing it." "But what gives them the right?" she shouted. "They didn't ask for it," Velk said. They didn't wait for permission. They came because we called for help, but they're not following our rules. Venna paced. This is a power we cannot control. We must warn the other empires. But even as she said that, new reports came in. The Aurelian High Alliance, gone dark. The Trilari Council, silent. The Bolzen colonies, missing fleets. One by one, the great galactic powers were falling quiet. Not from war, but from silence. The humans weren't destroying planets or people. They were removing systems, quietly, without noise, without war, just gone. The Lyrox didn't know what to do. Nelek approached Velk late that night with something new, a decoded message, buried inside the energy pulses. It's not a countdown, he said. It's a memory marker. Velk looked at him. Explain. The pulses are memories, Nelek said. From ships, from battles, from suffering. The humans are recording the pain, writing it into space. They're marking where the worst things happened. And then they erase them. Velk stared at the black curtain far away. How much will they erase? He asked. Nelek didn't answer. He didn't know. But one thing was clear now. Humanity had not just returned to help. They had returned to remember, and to remove everything that reminded them of the past. For 3 days, the galaxy held its breath. The black curtain of silence, where entire sectors once existed, remained in place. Ships that wandered too close vanished without a trace. Probes stopped sending data. Civilizations sent fleets, but none returned. There were no wrecks, no explosions, just disappearance. On the Lyrox capital world, panic was slowly growing behind the cold faces of the High Council. It was clear now. The humans had created something beyond understanding. Something old, something designed not to fight but to erase. Commander Velk had not slept in 2 days. Nelek too was pale, thinner, speaking less. But both continued working. The human signal had grown quieter. The countdown, if it was still a countdown, was changing shape. It now pulsed like a heartbeat. We've crossed into Phase 3, Nelek whispered. Velk looked at the map. The black field was spreading. Slowly, inch by inch, it was moving toward another region, one known for ancient wars, long buried in history. The Bolzen graveyards. That's when the second message arrived. It was not from Mirasolin this time. It was from the one they feared the most, the old man. He stood alone again. No background, no sounds, just a quiet space, and his deep voice inside their minds. You remember the pain, he said, but you chose to forget the lesson. Velk froze. Every officer on the bridge went still as the voice touched them. You buried the weapons, you hid the bodies, you wiped the records, but we did not forget. We couldn't. It was written into us. His eyes were dark, but not angry, more like tired. The galaxy called us broken. You pointed to our ruined Earth and laughed. But our silence was not weakness. We were preparing. The screen went black. The message ended. No coordinates. No commands. Just those words. Velk turned to Nelek. Find the records, everything on the Bolzen graveyards. Nelek nodded and began digging. Files marked Ancient War Classified. Files that had not been opened in generations. Most of them were corrupted, some were erased. But one file remained. A simple one. A report. Old, grainy text. Project Silencer, or. Words chilled Velk. What is this? Nelek read aloud. During the last human-initiated galactic war cycle, the humans developed a final contingency weapon. Not a bomb. Not a ship. A system-wide field designed to erase memory, matter, and time signatures. To wipe existence itself. It was never used. The project was shut down by the Unified Accord. Because it was too dangerous. Is that what this is? Velk asked. Nelek nodded slowly. It's back. And it's working now. Velk's hands trembled. Across the galaxy, fear turned into chaos. The Krell syndicates called for emergency evacuation of entire regions. The Trillari began sending desperate peace signals. The Varnic Republic offered tribute. No one heard back. Because the humans weren't talking. They were erasing. One night, something strange happened. Nalek woke up to an alert from deep space. A single human ship had exited the black field, not fleeing, not attacking. It simply parked itself near a dead star and began transmitting a weak signal. Velk ordered immediate observation. As the signal grew stronger, it began forming an image, a picture from long ago, a child, human, crying, holding the hand of a body burned by plasma fire. Behind them, alien ships flying away. Symbols on the wreckage matched. The Bull's in. It's a memory, Nilak whispered. They're sending us their pain. Velk nodded. No, they're warning us. And then, as suddenly as it came, the human ship folded and vanished. The memory remained. For the first time, Velk understood. The humans were not here for revenge. They were here for closure. Every place where they had suffered, every world where they had bled alone, every system where their screams had been ignored, those were now targets for silence. The council gathered in emergency session. We must speak with them, said Councillor Venna. We must beg them to stop. Velk disagreed. You don't beg a fire, you stay out of its way. But they'll erase us next, someone shouted. Only if we gave them reason, Velk replied. Have we? Did we harm them in the past? The council fell silent. Many of them had never read the old files, never cared, but Velk remembered something ugly. During the old collapse, the Lyrox had sent a cleansing fleet to Earth, not to help, but to strip tech and resources. Earth was dying, and the Lyrox came not as saviors, but as scavengers. We did, Velk said softly. We left them to die, took from their broken home. Councillor Venna paled. Nilak added, That's probably on the list. A new signal came in, not from the humans but from inside the black field. A single phrase appeared on every screen, Earth remembers, and beneath it, coordinates, Lyrox space. Everyone froze. The message was not a threat. It was an announcement. They were coming. Panic erupted. Cities prepared evacuation. Military fleets formed. Planetary defenses activated. But deep down, Velk knew none of it would matter. If the humans truly controlled Project Silencer, then no weapon would stop them. That night, Velk went to the edge of the observation platform above the Capitol Tower. He stared at the stars. One of them blinked. It wasn't a star. It was a ship. Huge. Silent. Blacker than space. It hovered above Lyrox orbit, unmoving, unannounced. The stars around it dimmed. From it came no message, no attack, only a slow humming, pulse. A memory signal. Nelek ran up, breathless. They're broadcasting something else. Velk turned. What now? Nelek's voice shook. A voice. A child's voice. It's repeating the same question. He played the audio. A small human. Voice whispered again and again, Why didn't you help us? Velk's heart sank, because there was no good answer. The question echoed across the halls of the Lyrox capital. Why didn't you help us? It was not just a question. It was a heavy weight pressing down on everyone's soul. Velk stared at the blinking lights on the bridge, trying to hold back the storm inside. In the council chamber, leaders argued fiercely. Some wanted to respond with weapons to show strength. Others whispered about apology and negotiation. But no one had a clear plan. The humans were a mystery wrapped in silence and power. Velk knew one thing. The humans did not come for war. They came for justice. Outside the city, the huge black ship stayed in orbit. It moved with slow, deliberate grace like a shadow waiting to act. Every radar and sensor tried to understand its secrets, but all they got was silence. Velk's team worked day and night to decode the strange signals the ship sent. Sometimes it showed images, old photos of Earth, of human families, ruins, and war zones. Other times it played sounds, laughter, cries, and those haunting words. Why didn't you help us? At the same time, the black field spread. The darkness swallowed small fleets and entire systems. Where it went, nothing returned. The galaxy was scared, but no one dared stop it. Velk received a secret message from an unexpected source, the human envoy Mira Solon. She requested a meeting on neutral ground, a small asteroid base far from the capital. The council debated fiercely whether to allow it. Some saw it as a trap, others hoped for peace. In the end, Velk was chosen to meet her. It was a heavy burden. On the cold gray surface of the asteroid base, Velk stood face to face with Mira Solon. She looked calm, her eyes full of sadness and strength. Her uniform was simple but powerful, with the symbol of Earth, a tree growing through cracked stone. "Commander Velk," she said quietly, "you have questions. I have answers." Velk nodded. "Why did you come? What do you want from us?" Mira looked away, then back. "We came when we saw the darkness growing. We reached out, hoping for help. But we found only silence." "Why didn't you ask for help before?" Velk asked. "We did," she replied. "Long ago, when Earth was dying, we sent messages across the stars. We hoped to find allies. But they came to take what they wanted, not to save us." Velk's heart tightened. We thought you were weak. We thought you had no future." Mira's eyes flashed. "You were wrong. We survived. We grew stronger in silence. We built things you cannot imagine. But our past scars run deep." Velk looked at the black ship still visible in the sky. "And the black field? What is it?" Mira's voice was steady. "It's a shield and a weapon. It erases pain, but it also erases those who caused it. We don't want to destroy you. We want justice. We want recognition." "Justice," Velk said, struggling. "For what? We are not your enemies." Mira shook her head. "Not yet, but the silence made us enemies. The forgotten made us ghosts. The pain made us unstoppable." Velk swallowed hard. "What can we do? How can we fix this?" Mira smiled sadly. "There is a way, but it requires truth. It requires you to face the past and admit the mistakes. Only then can we stop the darkness." Velk looked up at the sky again. The black ship pulsed once more, slow and steady like a heartbeat. "We don't have much time," Mira said. Velk nodded. "Then let's start with the truth." Back on Lyrox, the news spread quickly. The council was forced to confront its history and its role in Earth's suffering. Some denied it, others felt shame, but the truth was undeniable. The galaxy watched as the first steps toward healing began, awkward, painful, but necessary. As Velk returned to the capital, he knew the road ahead was long and uncertain. But for the first time, there was hope. The humans had brought more than power. They had brought a chance to change. After the black field vanished, the galaxy slowly returned to normal. The stars shone brighter, and the silence that once filled empty space was gone. Planets reopened their skies, and trade routes buzzed with life again. Velk walked through the streets of Lyrox City. People greeted him with hope and respect. They had seen the darkness and survived it together. But Velk knew the real work was just beginning. Mira Solon arrived soon after, her presence a symbol of new friendship between humans and aliens. Together, they held meetings to build trust, share knowledge, and heal old wounds. The humans shared their stories of Earth's fall, their struggles, and their quiet rise back to power. Aliens listened and learned. They realized that humanity was not just strong in weapons, but in heart and spirit. The galaxy's leaders signed a new alliance, promising to protect each other and face future challenges as one. Old fears melted away, replaced by a cautious hope. Velk and Mira often talked about what had happened. They understood that help was more than sending ships or weapons. True help meant standing together even when it was hard. One day, Velk looked up at the sky where the black ship had been. It was empty now, but it left behind a lesson. Strength is not in power alone, he said quietly. It's in trust, in truth, and in the courage to face the past. Mira smiled. And in the hope to build a better future. The galaxy was still vast and full of unknown dangers. But now, it was also full of promise. Humanity had come, not just to ask for help, but to bring it, to show what it meant to be truly strong. And that story would inspire generations to come. The end. If you want, I can help with a summary, titles for each part, or anything else. You said, Part 9. ChatGPT said, you asked for Part 9, but you mentioned the story is 10 parts total, and Part 8 ended with closure and a complete ending. Would you like me to continue with a new story arc, an epilogue, or something else for Part 9? Or should I help you create a bonus chapter or spin-off? Just let me know. You said Part 9. ChatGPT said, since your story was planned for 10 parts and Part 8 provided a strong ending, here's Part 9 as a continuation. A new twist to keep the story alive, still in simple English, third person, with suspense and emotion. After the peace treaty, the galaxy thought the nightmare was over. But deep in the shadows of a distant system, a hidden signal flickered. It was faint, almost lost, but it carried a warning. Velk received the message during a quiet night on Lyrox. The code was ancient, unlike anything they had seen before. It spoke of a forgotten threat, a force older and darker than the Black Field. Mira joined Velk immediately. We thought we won, she said, but something worse may be coming. They called the council back to emergency. The galaxy held its breath again. Scientists decoded the signal. It told of an ancient weapon buried under a dead star, a weapon capable of wiping entire star systems in seconds. Velk and Mira knew they had to act fast. They gathered a new team, humans and aliens, together to find the weapon before it could be used. The mission was dangerous. The dead star was unstable, surrounded by storms of plasma and radiation. Many ships tried and failed to get close. As they approached, their scanners picked up movement. Unknown ships hiding in the dark, watching, waiting. The galaxy's fragile peace faced its greatest test yet. Velk looked at Mira. We fought before, but this time we fight together. Mira nodded. For the future, the hunt for the ancient weapon had begun. The team moved cautiously toward the dead star. The ship's shields flickered from the storms of plasma. Every second was a fight to keep control. Velk and Mira watched the scanners closely, searching for the hidden weapon. Suddenly, the enemy ships appeared from the shadows. Their weapons locked on. A fierce battle erupted in space. Laser fire and explosions lit the dark sky. The humans and aliens fought side by side, each trusting the other more than ever before. Inside the dead star's orbit, Mira's team made their way to the weapon's location. The ancient device was huge, covered in strange symbols that glowed faintly. It pulsed with dangerous power. The team carefully placed charges to destroy it. The countdown started. Time was running out. Back in space, Velk's forces held the enemy back. But the enemy was strong and desperate. Just when hope seemed lost, human reinforcements arrived from Earth's fleet. They brought new weapons and strength. Together, they pushed the enemy away, buying time for the charges to explode. The weapon detonated with a blinding flash. Energy waves rolled across space, destroying the device and ending the threat. The dead star's storms calmed. Peace returned once again. Velk looked at Mira and smiled. We did it. Together. Mira nodded. This is only the start of a new alliance. A new future. The galaxy had faced darkness, but humanity's courage and the trust between worlds brought light. They were ready for whatever came next. Because now, they stood united. The end. The days after the meeting were tense. The Lyrox Council started an emergency investigation into their past actions. Old records were opened, witnesses were called. Many leaders felt the weight of guilt for the first time. Velk stayed busy, coordinating, between the military and diplomats. The black ship still hovered in orbit, silent but powerful. It did not attack or move closer. It waited. The black field, however, continued to spread. It swallowed another small system far from Lyrox. The emptiness it left behind was chilling. No wreckage, no survivors, just silence. Some in the council wanted to attack the human ship, but Velk argued against it. This is not just a battle of ships, it is a battle of truth. On the other side, Mira Solon prepared her people for what was coming. She gathered leaders and scientists to discuss the final phase of Project Silencer. It was a weapon of last resort, meant to end long-standing pain by wiping the worst parts of history from existence. But Mira did not want to use it. She hoped to find peace first. Velk and Mira started sending secret messages between their teams. They shared data, memories, and fears. Slowly, a fragile trust formed. One night, Velk received an encrypted transmission. It was a recording from a human soldier on Earth long ago. The soldier spoke of hope, sacrifice, and love for a home that was fading fast. Velk played the message many times. The soldier's voice was full of pain, but also courage. "This is who they are," Velk told the council. "Not enemies, survivors. Fighters for a future." Some council members still resisted. They feared the humans' power. They worried that if they admitted guilt, they would lose everything. But others saw the truth. The galaxy could not survive more war. Healing was the only way. Velk prepared a speech for the public. He spoke about mistakes, pain, and hope. He asked all species to join in rebuilding trust. Meanwhile, the black ship began a new signal. This time it showed Earth's history, not just war and suffering, but art, music, and moments of joy. It was a reminder that humanity was more than their pain. The black field stopped growing. For a moment, the galaxy breathed again. But then, an emergency alert came from a remote station. The black field flickered. A new pattern appeared. It was not random. It was a countdown. Velk looked at Mira's message on his screen. "We have little time. The final phase is near." Mira replied, "We will stop it, but only if the galaxy stands united." Velk nodded. He felt the weight of the moment. The story was no longer about humans or aliens. It was about survival, about facing the past, and about choosing a future. "Let me know if you want me to continue with Part 7. You said Part 7, ChatGPT said. Here is Part 7 of your HFY Sci-Fi story. Aliens asked for help. They never expected what humanity brought." Written in third person, simple English full of suspense and emotion, the countdown echoed through every ship, every station, every city across the galaxy. The black field's new pulse sent shivers down spines. No one knew exactly what would happen when it reached zero, but fear grew fast. Velk stood on the command deck of the Lyrox flagship, eyes fixed on the timer blinking on the main screen. Beside him, his crew moved quickly but quietly. They all understood. This was the moment to prove themselves. Mira Solon's message arrived just in time. "We have a plan," she said, voice calm but firm. "But we need your help." Velk responded immediately. "Tell me what to do." Mira explained that the black ship's power came from an ancient device hidden deep inside Earth's core, something humans had protected for centuries. This device controlled the black field. If they could shut it down, the field would vanish. "But it's dangerous," Mira warned. "Only a human team can reach it. They need a safe path through your space." Velk agreed without hesitation. "You have it." The council approved a risky mission. Human engineers and Lyrox pilots teamed up to guide the human strike team through enemy territory to Earth's core. As the mission started, Velk felt hope rise. For the first time, humans and aliens fought side by side, not against each other. On the black ship, Mira led her team, moving through tight corridors and advanced security systems. Their goal was close, but so was the danger. Sensors detected ships moving fast toward them, sent by those who wanted to keep the black field alive. A fierce battle broke out in space. Lyrox fighters clashed with unknown enemies. Explosions lit up the dark sky. Back on Earth, the human strike team reached the core chamber. The device was massive, pulsing with dark energy. It seemed alive. The team worked fast, guided by Mira's commands from orbit. Every second counted. Suddenly, alarms blared. The device began to fight back, sending waves of energy that knocked the team off balance. The chamber shook. "Hold your ground," Mira shouted through the comms. "We can stop this." With effort, the team activated a special override. Slowly, the dark energy faded. The black device powered down. The countdown stopped. The black field began to shrink. Across the galaxy, relief spread like wildfire. Velk smiled, tears in his eyes. "We did it." But the victory was not complete. Mira's voice came through one last time. "This is only the beginning. We must learn from our past, or this darkness will return." Velk nodded. "Then we will stand together. Always." The black ship powered down and slowly disappeared into space. For the first time in a long time, the galaxy felt peace. But everyone knew this peace was fragile. The story of humanity was still being written, and it was far from over.